Let's take a minute here to talk about social media, reviews, review copies, review consoles, anything like that, the positives and negatives of social media, and how things seem to work from my experience thus far. But I had to reflect on things after about a week ago when I published a little video unboxing and trying out this Retron GX from Hyperkin. Now, the first thing I didn't expect to see in the comments was so many people telling me that it's an absolute piece of garbage or something along those lines. And they were telling me that other reviewers on YouTube had done reviews of it and they tested everything with it and it's really not that good. And my thought process was, yeah, I don't think it's the best thing ever made, but it's also not the worst thing ever made. And for the market that they're trying to appeal to, this is probably going to be perfectly serviceable. This is not meant to, as far as I would be able to say, actually, I'll just say it. This isn't meant to appeal to hardcore collectors or retro enthusiasts. If you want something that is running the original hardware perfectly and playing every game perfectly and allows you to use other accessories and aftermarket mods and this, that, and the other, then you probably have original hardware. And this isn't the target market. You are not the target market if you have a complete PC Engine collection, TurboGrafx 16 collection, all the add-ons, the CD add-on. This isn't for you. This wasn't really meant for that person. I think the price point kind of shows that. It's an $80 system, and while that's not nothing in terms of cost, that's not hyper expensive either. And when I get these things either here on YouTube or TikTok Shop or from any other like third-party vendor or aftermarket vendor, I don't look at it as, is this going to be a perfect experience to replicate the original hardware? I look at the price point first off and I say, oh, okay, well, a controller normally costs about $25 to $30, and a console itself on eBay, if I want original hardware, is like anywhere between 100 and 160, depending on what you get with it, if not more. So for 80 or $90, a controller, the system, and the ability to do HDMI out without needing adapters and to scale things, great, perfect. It's going to be fine for the average gamer who has some fond memories of the TurboGrafx 16. And it's not going to be a perfect experience, but I wouldn't expect something that isn't original hardware to be a perfect experience. And that's, I guess, what confused me about all the people chiming in saying this retro game channel, this retro game collector said it wasn't perfect and had software emulation issues and it had sound issues. Well, that's probably what I would expect. If it's not original hardware, that's what I would expect. Now, if you don't want to pay $80 for this, please don't, by any means. If you want to save your money, get something that's perfect, or you want to demand that there is something that's made better than this and is more perfect than this and does a better job emulating, that's great too. Go out there, make the petition. I'm sure a company will be more than willing to develop it. I know there are companies out there that develop pretty much perfect clones. I think they're called Analog, the NES, things like that. There's some kind of N64 clone coming out soon, and it promises to do everything pretty well. But I wouldn't expect this at that price point to do everything perfectly. I would expect it to be serviceable. I would expect this to be something you go to a store, a local retro game store. There's a few around me here, and they have it on the counter as an alternative to buying original hardware. And they have a few maybe cheap games for the TurboGrafx 16 that maybe you remember from when you were a kid. Maybe you and your sibling were playing it back then. You think to yourself, wow, I can pick this up for 80 or $90. It'll work on my brand new HD TV at home. I can play one of the 2 or 3 games I want to play on it. And I won't be breaking the bank for it, and it won't be a huge investment, and I won't have to worry about converters, adapters, or anything else. That's who it's for. I'm sorry that I didn't hate it. It seems to be the case. The amount of comments in that video, there's like 300 views in that video. There probably still are. But the amount of comments were pretty much through the roof. And I want to make something just kind of clear right now. I am not a retro enthusiast collector, the likes of which you see on YouTube who also reviewed this. Those people out there are they do way better videos than me. They are way more comprehensive. They have a huge collection. I'm just some guy who's playing some retro stuff, and I'm trying to piece together parts here of things that I think will be fun for my friends and family for game nights, or for the kids at school for game club. And this is perfectly serviceable for all that. And that's kind of why I was glad to get it. This will be perfectly fine for me to pick up a few games, hopefully a little bit cheaper for game club, so we have a TurboGrafx 16 and a library there. It's good for that. Is it going to be a perfect emulation? God, no. And that's kind of what I was trying to say in the video. Like, you could do worse. You could do worse. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not perfect, but you could do worse. I played it for a while. I had this at school. The kids played it for 2 or 3 days during game clubs. No one seemed to have an issue. They played some Keith Courage. They played some Gradius. It was fine. It's not perfect. It's not amazing, but I would not expect it at that price point to be perfect or amazing. I would expect it to be serviceable, which is what I thought it was. So that's the first controversy I want to address. The other thing I realized after being on social media for a long time now, starting off on TikTok with a Bizarre Cheese channel, and then moving into the gaming world, and then the retro gaming world, and the modern gaming world, and then coming over here to YouTube, is that if I were to take obscenely strong opinions and say, this is the absolute worst thing in the world, it's complete garbage, I would have a lot of views, I have a lot of comments, a lot of engagement. Or if I were to sit back and praise this as the greatest thing ever, this is so amazing, go buy it right now, I would also have a lot of views and comments and subscribers. That's just kind of how it works out there. I've noticed it's very difficult to take a middle of the road or agnostic view on anything on the internet. If I had a clickbaity thumbnail and said worst piece of garbage ever, people would be flooding my channel to tell me in agreement or in disagreement, and they'd be subscribing and everything else. That's not me. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the most amazing thing in the world. Go buy it now. Here's my link. I'm not going to say it's the worst thing in the world because it isn't. It's just somewhere in between. But if there's one thing I've learned about being on the internet for this many years now and being on social media, is that no one really wants to say, like, oh, yeah, it's okay. Everyone wants to say it's the worst thing in the world or the best thing in the world. And that is where the engagement comes in at. It's just how it is. That's where engagement comes from. It doesn't come from sitting back, unboxing it slowly, and saying, "Oh, this is pretty cool. This is pretty neat." It comes from just absolutely trashing something or praising something beyond any shadow of a doubt. And I'm guilty of it too. I watch videos like that too, where they either completely trash something or they praise something so ridiculously. So I know that's how it works. I'm probably never going to be that. Maybe I will. I make no guarantees. But I just don't want to. I want to look at it from an average gamer point of view, not a hardcore lifelong collector. I just want to look at an average gamer point of view. I know all the basement down here, the game room stuff's impressive, but I really am not a hardcore collector. I'm just trying to find those fun experiences. So that's my thoughts on that. The other thoughts I have are like the comments I get about my videos, improving them, things like that. I just want to talk about that briefly here. People are telling me get capture cards, get this, get that, the other. I probably won't do any of that. And the reality is social media is in two extremes. Either you record yourself with a webcam and maybe cut in a few clips here and there, and whatever that is, that's fine. It works for a lot of people, and you get a lot of views, a lot of followers, a lot of subs. Or you have a whole team of producers, editors, and everything else, and that also gets you like fame, fortune on YouTube as well. There's not a lot of stuff in the middle like me. And one thing I've noticed is we went away from at first filming with this really cheap Amazon mic and I think it was a small gimbal for an iPhone and an i14 Pro Max or whatever. That's what we're making our videos on. And when we were making videos on that and my wife was trying to learn how to edit things, trying to figure out how editing works, trying to figure out how sound and volume and adjustments work like that. And we were doing all that stuff. The views in the channel were a lot higher. As soon as we switched over to using her professional camera that she uses for photography, like actual photography, an Alpha 3 or an Alpha 7 III, and we switched over to a more professional mic setup, which we've been working on the sound issues. We finally figured it out thanks to a good friend at work. And we switched over to tripods. We switched over to gimbals. We made better thumbnails. We shot B-roll. We did scripting, everything else. The views have plummeted incredibly. I mean, incredibly. There was videos we've shot down here of me building Sam's Club snowmen for outdoor decorations that have 5,000 views, I believe, the last count. And then we have an hour or two of filming and God knows 2 to 3 more hours of editing. And those videos are getting like 300 views. And that's with improved thumbnails, improved video, improved audio, improved everything. So the one thing I've noticed out there, if you're still listening at this point, I'm just rambling, social media rewards inversely. So we might just go back to filming on the iPhone with a small gimbal and no cuts, or the cuts are going to be too frequent, whatever it is. We might just go back to that because I've noticed that the more effort I start putting into this channel, the worse the response was. So that was just a quick little thing I wanted to say there. And the reason I'm even talking about that is I think it ties into the fact that when I get a product from a company to look at a review, I do give it an honest review when I think about it. But I try not to take anything from companies that I won't have anything good to say about. Like I won't accept something from a company where I look at their product online and it's 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. There's endless stories on Reddit complaining about it. I just try to avoid that altogether. But it seems like when I started saying like, hey, this product isn't horrible, or if you're looking for something, you could do worse, that's when the views really started going down. I'm just kind of curious if it has something to do with that. But anyways, I've rambled a little bit too long here. I appreciate you coming along this ride with me if you're interested in that. And I want to address what I would call my biggest controversy yet, which is saying this is not utter garbage. But I realized that if I would have said it was utter garbage from the get-go, I'd be doing a lot better on that video now, which did take us a while. But unfortunately, or fortunately, that's the way the internet works. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this ramble. We'll see you in the next one.